Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Overland Dude. Today we're reviewing my favorite cooler, the Igloo BMX 25 quart. This cooler comes in at $99. Make sure you watch the whole vid, as this is an amazing value, something I totally recommend you go out and get. This cooler is available at Walmart, Target, Dick's Sporting Goods, Igloo.com of course. I've even seen this in stores at Costco. This is a huge plus that it's something you can just go out and get. It's also a huge plus that it's available in 8 different color combos, making sure you don't have the same cooler as everybody else. Let's get right into all the details and see how this cooler stacks up. All right, let's get right into those hinges. Super high quality plastic. Over the course of a year, I've never had any issues with them. They're still as tight and strong as when I got it. You've got metal screws holding the strong plastic hinges into the plastic lid of the cooler. The front snaps, you'll be happy to know, are of similar quality. They are a nice, pliable, thicker rubber snap. Same thing over the course of a year. I've never had any issue with these deteriorating. There's no cracks, tears, or any of that. You'll be also happy to note you are able to snap these and unsnap them with one hand. A lot of the coolers with rubber snaps, that's not possible. Sometimes it takes 2 hands. We got 1-inch siding there. Nice thick insulation. Moving back on to those back hinges, let's talk about those for a second here. Hinges are usually the first thing to go on a cheap cooler. A cooler, say around $30, $40, the hinges are usually going to break. They're either going to snap, completely rip out with the screws out of the plastic, or both. That's not going to be the case here. These hinges, as stated earlier, are high quality. This is where it definitely helps to spend a little bit more on a mid-grade cooler, so you can avoid that altogether. All right, the handle on this guy is awesome as well. It's got the perfect amount of resistance. It's not so hard to move it left or right or keep it in the middle, but it's also not so weak that it just falls to the side. This is where cheaper coolers also fail, is the handle is weak on the mechanism and it doesn't stay in place and it just kind of flops to the left or the right. Not going to have that issue here. The grip handle itself feels good, no issues, high quality, nice coated plastic. I really do love that it'll stay in place, even as you can see here hanging off to the right. It stays like that by itself. That was not me holding it. The cooler walls and the lid measure in at about 1 inch thick of insulation. This is clearly the perfect amount, as the cooler passed the ice retention challenge with flying colors. All right, another view of those awesome front snaps. You can also see the top of the cooler has a really cool texture to it. The bottom of this cooler does not have rubber feet. Expect it to slide around in the bed of a truck or in the rear cargo area. The cooler also did not pass the leak test, although I didn't expect it to, as the cooler's only $100. I will give it this though, as the water doesn't gush out. It's more of a quicker drip. Obviously, because of the snap handles on the front, the cooler at least stays closed, so your food would stay in it if it was tipped over. You guys already know I can't stand tie downs on the lid. I don't like this, as stated before, as if you tie it down, you can't open the cooler. However, you can't have it all on a cooler $100 or less, but I do need to point it out that is the case here. If you strap it down with those eye loops, you cannot open it. Okay, ice retention. This is the favorite part I like to do in a cooler review. Starting off with 24 pounds of ice filled to the brim, ice only. Ambient temperature for the entire test ranged from 65 degrees to 87 during the day. 1 full day in here, didn't lose much. 2 full days here, I lost about ½ an inch, as to be expected. Moving into day 3, we're finally starting to see a little bit of meltage. However, that is a solid brick in there. Still holding up very well. Moving on to a full 4 days, we're finally starting to see some water in there. However, underneath that water is still a really good chunk of ice. Day 5 is where the cooler decided to tap out. However, there is still some ice in there and the water is freezing cold. Even on the morning of day 6, the water was still freezing cold to where I couldn't keep my hand in there. It wasn't until day 7 that the water started to cool down. It's extremely impressive for a cooler of $100 or less. This is actually very impressive for a cooler under $200. So let's see if this cooler can hold my fat butt. I'm 220. I'm going to stand on the lid of this cooler. As you can see here, there's no bowing, there's no flexing, there's nothing. The lid of this is rock solid, very impressive, and it just goes to show the quality overall of this cooler. So we're going to wrap up this video with this. Overland Dude recommended. Get this cooler, it's amazing. From the front snaps to the rear hinges to the quality of the lid, handle, all of it. How well it did in the ice retention. This all makes this cooler worth every bit of $100. Even at $150, this cooler would remain a fantastic value. Alright guys, keep an eye out for my next video. How to start camping for under $100. I'm going to teach you how to get everything you need for under $100 to start camping. Before we go, let's check out that awesome view of one of the lakes in Mammoth I've been to. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to get out there and enjoy God's beautiful creations. That this is what it's all about. Thanks for watching.